Fantastic. I'm now sitting in studio with Lisa de Speville of FEAT, which is the Fascinating Expeditions and Adventures Talks.
That's right.
Right, good, fantastic. Let's turn you up a little bit there so that you're actually in here. Welcome to studio, Lisa.
Thanks very much. Lovely to be here.
Fantastic. Okay, now you were saying to me just before the show started that a lot of people don't know what they are, what FEAT is, but it's got the most self-descriptive kind of name, Fascinating Expeditions and Adventure Talks. You deal with adventurers, people who are still out there somehow finding places of the world that not many people go to, and making them tell us their stories.
That's right. So what FEAT does is it brings a bunch of South African adventurers together every year for a single night, that's one night only, theatre-style evening. And the trick with FEAT is that you've got 10 speakers, different disciplines from ocean rowing, paragliding, mountaineering, climbing, you name it, water disciplines, land disciplines, air disciplines. And they have only 7 minutes to talk about an aspect of a recent expedition. So it's very vibey, very high adventure, high excitement, and 7 minutes really is all you need just to get a taste of that adventure.
Yeah, and it's a crowd full of people wearing K-Way and adventure gear themselves, and it's a certain very particular community. And this year, it's actually become so popular. You're moving it from the Little Victory Theatre to the Linda Auditorium, which you said I think was 1,600. Did you say?
There's 1,060 seats in the Linda,
Okay.
so we're doubling the size this year.
Right.
Tickets opened last week to the newsletter subscribers, so they sort of get advance notice of the event coming up, and we're over 300 tickets gone already. So today, public notification goes out. So if you're listening to the show, you can get a jump on anyone else to get your tickets.
Marvelous. Okay. All right. So give us some idea. Who's actually talking at this year's event?
All right. Well, I always keep the speakers under wraps, and in the next couple of weeks leading up to the event, one by one, I'll sort of let it out as to who's speaking. But I can give you a bit of an idea of the disciplines that are going to be covered. You see, Warren, this is the other thing about FEAT, is that even if I tell you the names of the people, you're not going to know who they are. You know, there's a couple of big names, and if you kind of follow a little bit what's happening in the adventure world, you'll have an idea of who they are. But for the most part, you're not going to know. So we've got ocean rowing, we've got mountaineering, we've got fat biking, we've got a bit of climbing.
Hang on, fat biking.
Yeah.
I think Chris Forrest does that every year at the 94.7.
There's not fat people on bikes.
Okay. Oh, sorry. What is that? What is that?
All right. Well, fat biking is a relatively new discipline, kind of growing. I don't know that it's going to become mainstream, but you're riding a kind of mountain bike with fat wheels.
Okay.
And it really caters to very specific terrain. It's a lot harder to use, but snow, sand, the bike is made for that.
Okay, right.
Great for expeditions. You want to cross a desert, you can do it on a fat bike. Let's see, we've got running, we've got polar stuff, we've got, sailing, surf ski, kayaking. Yeah.
And how easy is it for you to find South Africans who are doing these kind of outrageous things?
It can be quite challenging because pretty much unless people tell me something's happening,
Right.
or so either the adventurers or their friends, then you can miss it completely.
Right.
So the main thing is really that I've got a good information stream coming through from being involved in this for 15 years and adventure racing. I normally get quite a jump on things that are going down. So throughout the year, FEAT does cover news stories of what South Africans are doing and where they're going and the expeditions they're undertaking.
Right.
But I think I must also just clarify, like expeditions, it's not necessarily where people are gone for a year and they're tramping through the Amazon and bashing down bushes. An expedition really can be something that takes place overnight, on a weekend, in Joburg even.
Yeah.
It's really about having a creative idea of something you want to do within a sporting discipline that you enjoy. So running, mountain biking, those are the easy ones. Paddling, you want to paddle a river from source to sea. Maybe one of my friends about 2 years ago, he wanted to see how many Joburg parks he could visit. I don't know, I think it was between sunrise and sunset.
Okay.
And so he went on a running journey linking up Joburg parks.
Right.
And that's an expedition in my book.
Okay, I see. All right, I understand. But I get the sense that this is really growing as a kind of a culture in South Africa. It's not as fringe as it perhaps used to be. I mean, I know specifically when you go to something like the Band Film Festival or whatever, those sorts of movies used to be screened to 10 strange men, bearded men in a lonely theater, and now, I mean, it's a proper theater and full of people. I think it's. Do you get that sense? Is it a?
I think in a way these things have always been happening, and South Africans, people around the world have always been adventurous and always been doing things. But we've got a lot better digital camera footage. So for Banff, people can make
Right.
movies a lot more easily. You don't have to be a professional. Maybe also people just want to get out and do things. But media is starting to pick up on it a lot more. And really over the years, mainstream media is not interested in the snowboarding. They're not interested in these tiny fringe disciplines.
Right.
But more and more they capture the imagination. When someone surf skis, around the coastline of South Africa, or riverboards a South African river, or goes overseas and runs the length of Madagascar, or any of those type of things, people start to get, I think, a little bit more interested in it. There's cricket, rugby, soccer, tennis, golf.
Sure.
They're a little bit mundane when you compare to really creative and adventurous things that people are doing.
Right. And I suppose the corporates have kind of come on board as well. You get the corporates that are backing people to do these rather bizarre things as well. And I suppose, as you say, the mainstream media, like top billing occasionally.
Yeah. Well, if you look at how trail running has taken off in the last few years, people think trail running's a new sport. Well, it's been around for decades. And, I think, in fact, anytime you head off-road, you kind of trail running. So these things have been around for a long time. It's just getting a little bit more exciting than straight organized events. And what makes FEAT and the adventures that people undertake quite different to going on a guided trip of Kilimanjaro is these are all self-motivated adventures. So someone gets an idea, they want to do something, they want to go somewhere, they want to see a place.
Right.
And that's what they're doing. So it's not an event, the things that make it onto the FEAT stage, they're not things that people have entered that have paid money to do.
Yeah.
These are things that people just want to do.
Because that's one of the interesting things I found about FEAT. There is so much that still needs to be done. There's this kind of sense that, we've seen the world, we've discovered it, we've mapped every corner of it, and we know what's going on. And my surprise was just how much of that is not true. Totally.
I mean, you can look on Google Earth and look around the place and see what an area looks like and look at your maps and pore over it. But it's something quite different to be doing it yourself and to be there. It's always the experience of being outdoors and the physical undertaking. The greater the physical undertaking, the greater the challenge and the harder the things that you go through, the more rewarding the experience.
Right. Our thing here is we just try to encourage people to do slightly more adventure. Don't trip to Mauritius every year. Don't go to London every year. Just try and do something a little different. But this is the other extreme. This is people doing something truly wild. You can't talk about this year's guys just yet, but who've been some of your favorites from the last couple talks? Give people an idea of what to expect.
Well, this is going to be the 6th FEAT event that happens now on the 2nd of October. So over the last 5 events, we've had 50 South Africans speaking about their adventures. It's hard to pick a favorite.
Particularly since they're large, rugged men and will probably come and exact revenge upon you if they're not on
and
the
women,
list.
but they're not necessarily large and rugged.
Okay. Yes, no, you're definitely not large and can still kick my butt, probably.
I think, so that the FEAT talks are slideshow based. So the speakers speak with magnificent images behind them. And I think I just enjoy hearing the stories and seeing places that I've never been to. And one of the things I try to say to the FEAT speakers is that, sure, I know about Everest, I know about the Khumbu Icefall, I know about the base camps. What don't I know? And what don't the people sitting in the audience know? So if someone's talking about mountaineering, cold weather, places, people, culture, what's unexpected? You can plan for so much. And I think that's the joy of being outdoors, is that you can plan for so much, but there are variables.
Right, and
So it's really hard to pick a favorite. Last year we had Chris Bertiche speaking about stand-up paddleboarding, and he did various expeditions in the UK. And then after FEAT, he set a Guinness World Record for a 12-hour stand-up paddleboard open ocean distance record, 130 kilometers, I think it was. There's things like that. And then Marco Briccardo and Dave Joyce talking about crossing the empty quarter and pulling a carted sled behind them with all their stuff for the duration of the expedition.
And as you say about that, particularly, it was the personal story. Like they lost something, I seem to remember, and then they had to go back.
I think it was like their first aid kit.
It's one of the most difficult things you're going to do, and they have to turn around and walk a whole day back, another bonus 2 days worth of walking. It's just horrible. But it's that stuff that, as you say, makes it interesting.
And those things that stick in the memory. Because also, one of the things is everyone thinks, well, my expedition has to be successful and I've got to make my records and accomplish things in time. But it's the failures in expeditions as well that are so exciting for me, because it's not just about completing everything and having this lovely story to tell, but probably a better story to tell when things don't go your way and how you get out of it. And I think it kind of makes, going on any trip, and when you're out there and you're doing physical undertakings, you come back and, well, email's not so important, and chasing the phone and all these other things are not so important. An expedition is about living and eating and breathing and forward progression and a single-minded focus with not all the multitasking and juggling that we do all the time back home.
Right, and you've said that you're actually putting your money where your mouth is on this whole adventure thing, and you're supplying for somebody who applies to you and tells you what their idea is for an expedition. You're going to donate a certain amount of money to the person who has the most intriguing idea or the most intriguing expedition idea?
Correct. So it's called the FEAT Award, and every day FEAT presents this award. We take applications from people, and as I say, expeditions could be an overnight thing. It could be local here in Joburg. It could be a weekend thing. Obviously doing something in South Africa is more cost effective than anything else.
Right.
But pretty much we have an upper limit of a 20,000 Rand expedition. FEAT puts in half, 10,000 Rand. They put in half, and it's really about being able to give people that cash amount of money, because that's the most difficult thing. It's easy to get shoes and socks and those kind of things, but to actually get the cold hard cash when people have got a lot of commitments with family, and so is someone going to spend 5,000 Rand when they should be putting it into their children's things. So we've got no age limit, and so whether you're young or old, and you just have to be adventurous at heart and have a great idea, fill in the form, send it off to us at FEAT. We look through all the things and see what catches our attention. And I can't give you a formula, because when we see it, we know it.
Okay, well, there you are. So if you've got some different ideas, something you wanted to do for ages, this is your opportunity now. And the award will be given away on the 2nd of October at the event.
That's right. So applications are open until the end of this month. I think 1st of September is the deadline. And and what happens at the FEAT Award winner comes back the next year to speak. So this year, our FEAT Award winner from this year comes to speak.
Right.
And he, with a friend, did an ultra triathlon in Lesotho in April. He'd never been to Lesotho before. It was a nice, quick sort of 5-day drive from Joburg to Lesotho. Do this 3-day ultra triathlon on bike, kayak, and foot. He went to the highest pass, highest dam, highest peak, and then came home, and it didn't turn out as he planned. And you'll hear about that at FEAT in October.
No, I'm sure if he hasn't been there before, it definitely didn't turn out as planned. But that's perfect. Okay, how do we get hold of you? How do we buy tickets? All that sort of stuff.
Okay, so the FEAT website is FEAT SA, and that's FEATSA.co.za. The event information is up according how you book tickets. Tickets run through entrytickets.co.za. It's at the Linda Auditorium on the 2nd of October. It's a Thursday, so it's an evening show. And what we've got this year is in the foyer, we've got products from our FEAT sponsors. So that's Black Diamond, Power Traveler, Fluid Kayaks and Trappers, so people can have a look and see what's around. And also books by South African adventurers. We've got lots of South African adventurers who have written phenomenal books, great reading. And you can see them here, meet the people, get an autograph.
Well, there you are. Thank you very much, Lisa, for coming in. It's absolutely fascinating. I'm definitely going. So if you've always wanted to do an adventure, you've always wanted to live your dreams, now is your opportunity. Get hold of FEAT and apply, because I'm telling you that that prize, really, you could win it. You could win it.